Hi, it's Paul Ward with the Home and Ranch team, and welcome to another edition of Farm Talk. Today I'm very excited because we have a guest, Mary Maranville with SEEAG, which stands for Students for Eco Education and Agriculture. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Yeah, it's great that you could join us. So what is SEEAG all about, and how did you get involved in this?
Well, I grew up on a dairy farm in upstate New York, so my whole childhood was spent with farmers and cows. And I moved to California 20 years ago, and I was invited to watch a field trip that took place at Hanson Agricultural Research and Extension Center. And it was a field trip for third graders. They were learning about local agriculture, and that was my aha moment. So I decided to start an agricultural education program, and that was about 11 years ago.
Wow.
And so that was the inspiration. Really is just my father was a farmer, and growing up in that environment, and I never had anyone come to my school and teach me about the wonderful, occupation that my father did. No one came to my school and said farmers are providing food for us to survive and to live. So when I saw this field trip, I said, why didn't I have this opportunity when I was in elementary school? So I just took it from there.
Yeah, I don't think it really is even today, even though we live in this rich agricultural community, Ventura County, California. It's really not part of the everyday classroom curriculum. I mean, it really takes people like you and organizations like SEEAG to put on special programs. Is that correct? It's not part of everyday
Yes,
curriculum.
and the reason is because when our educational system was set up, I think it was about over 200 years ago, everyone lived on a farm, or their grandparents had a farm. So we got summers off to work on the farm. And we didn't go back to school until after harvest. So that's why it was never a subject in the classroom. Of course, we have science, plant science, but agricultural education is not part of the instructional day. And so that's why my program is so successful, is because it is needed. But the schools to this day still do not provide agriculture as a subject.
Yeah, that is shocking. You guys do quite a bit. Tell us about the Farm Lab classroom.
Okay. Well, our mission is educating students in the greater community about the farm origins of their food and agricultural's contribution to our nutritional well-being. So that's our mission. And Farm Lab is the first program. That's the heart of SEEAG's programming. We go into the schools, elementary schools, third grade in particular, and we teach kids who don't even know what the word agriculture means. What is agriculture? And it's so cute to hear their definitions. But it's the science of farming. It's cultivating the soil. It's planting and growing crops. It's harvesting those crops and providing distribution of those crops to grocery stores and farmers markets. So, and then our second question is, once we tell them what agriculture is, we say, who's connected to agriculture? And these kids look at each other like, I'm not connected to it. Or a few raise their hand and they say, my cousin works at this farm, or my uncle. But they laugh, and they don't. And I say, well, who here eats? Who here wears clothes? If you eat and you wear clothes, you're connected to agriculture. So it gives them that first initial visceral connection to agriculture, that they are connected to it. Eating is an agricultural act. And so then we talk to them about what crops grow in their own backyard, the plant, the parts of the plant. So the foundation of agricultural literacy. And then the second part of the program is taking them out of the school and bringing them to a farm. And in our case, It's Petty Ranch, which is
Mhm.
located in Saticoy in Ventura County.
Yep.
And this is a multi-generational ranch. He grows citrus, avocados
Hmm.
mainly, and then he also grows figs. So he
Okay.
grows 3 different specialty crops. So um, we take the kids there and we again go over what they learned in the classroom, and then we divide them up into different groups, and we
Hmm.
have a plant station, a water station, a soil station, and an entomology bug station. And then they go around, they rotate to those different stations and learn more about those subjects.
I bet that is so much more educational and beneficial to them than simply looking through a, fourth grade classroom textbook or looking at a slideshow, because it's something that they're going to remember forever. I mean, I remember going to
Right.
the pumpkin patch when I was in kindergarten, and my mom thought, oh, oh great, he's going to go get a pumpkin. We don't need to get one later on. And I brought one of these little, sugar pumpkins that weighed about, 1 pound. And she said,
Right.
we still need to go get a pumpkin, But
Right.
I still remember that, 45 plus years later.
And Paul, you're not alone. I've had so many adults, and it's so rewarding for me to hear what you just said, because I didn't think about that when I started this. You just think about the agricultural education, the education opportunity that you're offering these kids. But when we get letters, so we
Mhm.
see with this program 3,000 students a year. So we receive hundreds of letters, and what these students write about that they remember, and they're also telling us, I'm going to start a garden. So it leaves a lasting impression and a lasting memory. The other thing that I never thought of when I started this is how dependent we are to technology.
Mhm.
The kids are just on their computers, they have their own phones now, so all that has to be put away, and they're walking around trees and plants. They're looking at the dirt, they're looking for bugs
Mhm.
in at the farm.
Right.
So it really is offering a connection to nature and a farm ecosystem as well. And
And
you said, you asked me one more question, sorry. You said these kids, the opportunity of learning right at the farm as opposed to learning from a book.
right.
Absolutely. And that's the trend in education across the country, is it's called next generation science standards.
Right.
And it's kids having experiences, learning from experiences, as opposed to just learning from reading or what a teacher is
Right.
saying in a classroom.
Right. I know. I mean, my wife has been a teacher for over 20 years, and I know, the teachers have to decide to, they only have so much money for field trips, and which field trip are they going to take? That's kind of like, we get one field trip a year, and they got to decide, you know, which one they're going to take. How does SEEAG kind of fit into that? Is there kind of outside funding, or is it the districts that help with these trips?
Well, thank you for asking that. We are a 501c3, so our funding comes from grants, donations, and we offer all of our programming uh, free of cost. So it's 100% free, and we provide bus transportation as well, which is unheard of.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's why our calendar fills up very quickly, because it's not an expense to the school. So
Interesting.
if they do decide to go on our field trip, maybe they can decide to go to on an ocean biology field trip, because ours is free. They don't have
Right.
to worry about having to spend their precious field trip money on our field trip. So
And I read that you've actually had over is it 40,000 kids come through the program? Is that the correct number? Or
yes, that's over the year. So
uh-huh.
on that program, we see 3,000 kids a year. And we see kids in the classroom, and then every Tuesday and Thursday morning throughout the school year. So they're at Petty Ranch throughout the school year on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then we have our nutrition program that we do. We see about 3,000 kids with that. And
Wow.
then we have a STEAM careers and agriculture program, which is science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and math
Okay.
careers that are available to middle and high school. And of course, if they go on to college, we teach them about the degree requirements for certain careers in agriculture that are available to them in their own backyard, which is amazing.
They could stay local. They don't have to go far away.
Agriculture is the #1 employer in Ventura County, and yet our middle and high school kids don't even know about all the myriad of careers that that they can apply for.
That is really surprising.
Mm-hmm.
And there's scholarships too. You're connected to different organizations with scholarships as part of the STEAM project. Is that
Yes,
correct?
we, with a partnership with Ventura College, we offer 2 scholarships a year for students that are majoring in agricultural science, or I believe the other one there is they have an ag business degree.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we do offer scholarships as well.
Okay. And tell us about the mobile van. There's a mobile classroom. Is that is that separate from the Farm Lab classroom, or is that part of the Farm Lab classroom?
Paul, no pun intended, but you've done your homework.
Well, it's my job.
Yes. When I was teaching the kids about the journey of their food, that's really our specialty. We break them up into the stations, but what we're trying to do is connect the dots for these kids from the soil all the way to their kitchen table. And so we call it the journey of our food program. So
Mm-hmm.
when we were talking about, when we were talking to the kids about the journey of their food, we really concentrated on the farm and the agriculture, and then the distribution to their home and to the restaurants and farmers markets. But what we weren't talking to the kids about is the nutritional value of these crops. And like Ventura County, we grow strawberries,
Right.
raspberries, celery, avocados, tomatoes, kale, all these really nutritious crops.
Mm-hmm.
So we were teaching about those crops, but we weren't telling them that there's so much vitamin A, and
Right.
peppers has a ton of vitamin C. And so we weren't talking to them about making healthy school snacks and recipes and nutrition. So we created this nutrition program, and we wrote a grant, and we applied through what's called the Specialty Crop Block Grant,
Mm-hmm.
and we received it. And
Wow.
so we were able to purchase a van, and we called that van the Farm Fresh Mobile Classroom.
Uh-huh.
And so when my educators are going to the schools to teach that program, they drive the van, and then the kids come out to the van, and it's really colorful, and it's
Right.
decorated with all the different crops that we grow in Ventura County.
So the van would probably go to the classroom before they actually come out to the farm, or maybe they don't even come out to the
Well,
farm.
they can go before or after. So we do the part 1 is the introduction to agriculture.
Uh-huh.
Then we do the farm lab out at Petty Ranch. But I think the normal sequence would be to have the Farm Fresh van go, be part 3, because that brings it all full circle to talk to them about, the eating of the locally grown fruits and vegetables.
Gotcha. Now, in addition to all of that, you also help organize Farm Day, right, throughout Ventura County. I mean, it's a busy organization. That's a huge event here locally.
It is. And it was just another natural, evolution to what we do. After teaching thousands of kids, a lot of parents come on the field trips, attend the field trips as chaperones.
Right.
And they would say to me, I've lived in Ventura County my whole life, and I've never been to this farm, or when we would talk about that the fact that there's $600 million worth of strawberries grown in the county, their jaws would drop. Or when they heard that agriculture employs 40,000 workers, they had no concept. So they would walk
Right.
up to me and say, "Was that true? Is that or they'd ask more questions." And I thought to myself, we really need to have an agricultural education day for adults.
Yeah.
So I approached 10 different growers in 2013, and I said, would you want to participate in a day, open up your doors? And these are all growers that they're not open to the public. And I said, would
Right.
you open your doors to the public on one Saturday in the fall to educate them about where their food comes from? And all 10 said yes.
That's
So that
incredible.
was in 2013. So we just did our 7th annual
Hmm.
or our 6th annual, and now we're going into our 7th. And so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting. I drove by Windy Hill Alpacas that day, and it was packed. I mean, the parking was bumper to bumper, and of course everybody loves alpacas, so there were lots of
Right.
families out there.
Right. Well, that part of it, a lot of people are like, alpacas, do they eat the alpacas? No, they don't eat the alpacas, but they use the fleece
Uh-huh.
to provide, and they weave it to provide clothing. So clothing is actually a form of agriculture as well. But we have nurseries on the tour, and it's called
Hmm.
Ventura County Farm Day. It's the first Saturday in November. And we have row crop growers, orchard. We have nurseries like Howling's Tomato Nursery.
Yep.
Um, what else do we have? We have,
There's even history and
yeah,
arts. I mean, you've got.
agricultural history. We had for the first year, and that was really exciting for me, is the museum in Santa Paula that has an agricultural art exhibit every fall. They actually participated this year as well.
Is that the mill? Is that is that the
Oh,
mill? Or?
no, that's not at the mill. They participate. That's the Santa Paula Agricultural Museum. No, this is the Jeanette Cole Art Center, which
Okay,
is right across the street.
gotcha. And then you even have a wine tasting thing that was added, right? With in Ojai. I mean, that's a whole different world.
Well,
Wine.
we to kick off Farm Day, we have a dinner, and this year we had it at Topa Mountain Winery in Ojai, and we had a beautiful farm to table dinner, and we sourced a lot of the produce locally, which is wonderful. But they also we got to feature a local winery, which was also nice.
Very cool. And did I read too that you have a tribute to Tom Petty at Petty Ranch? Is that something that I saw on the website?
Not Tom Petty. No, I no. Well, Chris Petty, he is our resident farmer at Farm Lab,
Uh-huh.
and he was the MC of the event at Topa Mountain Winery. So that's
Gotcha.
probably. We actually gave an award, and it's called the Founders Appreciation Award. And this year
Mhm.
it went to someone that really helps with a lot of the promotion for Ventura County Farm Day, because as you can imagine, to drive thousands of people to all those different farms, we need to do a lot of promotion.
Yeah. So that's all paid for by the uh, participating ranches, right? I mean, they're opening their doors.
Yes, the sponsors, the banks have been super generous. The sponsors have been generous. And again, when I started this Ventura County Farm Day, it was purely um, the, for the sake of agricultural education.
Right.
I didn't know it was going to be one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. So yes, the farmers, ranchers, banks, and other local companies sponsored the event to help make it successful.
If somebody wanted to get involved in SEEAG, especially kind of on the student, the elementary level, how would they go about doing that? If teachers are out there listening and thinking, hey, I want to bring my kids out to the farm, or I want to talk to my principal about something like this, how would they go about
Mhm. Well, go
doing that?
to seeag.org, and SEEAG is spelled SEEAG, Students for Eco Education and Agriculture. And seeag.org, you can click contact us,
Mhm.
and we will get back to them. But if you're a teacher or a principal and you want to take some of your kids on a free field trip, please contact us. And if you want to donate, and no donation is too small, if you want to donate $10 or $25,
Mhm.
it's tax deductible. And we have a donate button as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mary Maranville. I appreciate it very much. This has been very informative, and I know that our listeners out there, actually across America, will enjoy this. So thank you for
Oh,
your
thank
time.
you. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. And we love what we do. And you need to know where your food comes from. We do this 3 or more times a day. We eat, and we don't know the farmers that are growing our food. So that's my mantra. Go out and meet a farmer and learn where your food is coming from.
Yeah, I remember, this is just a side note, but I remember in college, I went to UC Davis to be a farmer, and I ended up with a degree in political science and took this long detour that I don't want to bore you with. But I remember in a public speaking class, I had to give a speech and I hadn't prepared. And just like any freshman in college, I was kind of last minute. And I thought, well, I grew up on my grandparents' ranch in Bardstown, spent my summers working for them. And I thought, I'm going to give a speech on how to grow an orange. And it was the best speech I ever gave, and nobody knew anything about farming. And it was all downhill from there, because every speech I gave after that was like, it couldn't compare to the orange speech, they called it.
Well, you spoke from the heart, and you were speaking from your experience of knowing about how to grow oranges. So that's great. And teaching people about food and agriculture, it's addicting. And everybody that I know that does it, we're all so passionate about it.
Uh-huh. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.